So hello everybody. Today is 9th of April 2022. I would like to give a short analysis about the situation of Russia invasion of Ukraine and all the very sad situation in Ukraine. So I have just put some notes in order to really make it short. So first of all, we have to make clear, we are all agreeing on the fact that Russia is one of the worst dictatorships at present running in the world. And the people of Russia are suffering since long. And the people we see in the administration who are like Putin, etc., they are like mafia bosses, and this is clear. And he and his friends and family members, or whatever, they are accomplices, which are living in beautiful, lavish lives in London, Switzerland, or whatever, most luxurious lives, based on what they are stealing from Russian people and the minerals of the country. Russia is also one of the richest countries of energy and minerals, as we know, but the Russian people are not getting anything out of it, or very little. But this mafia structure, which leads the ex-Soviet, today they call it Russian Federation. It is very evil system, and it is clear this has to stop also. That's very clear. And Putin and all his friends and all his government guys, we cannot call government, I mean, they are administrators, like mafia administrators. They have to go all to jail and have to be convicted, etc. We fully agree on this. So we have a big job ahead of us, so free Russian people also. So, but the second issue with Ukraine, Ukraine is a great country, very rich country on not only minerals, agricultural potential. They can feed approximately 600 million people alone. They have only 40 million out of it. And they have a beautiful geographical location. They have great people, really great people. I have experienced myself. So intellectual people, scientists, engineers. So a great country with greatest potential, deserves to be in the world in a neutral position, acting in all directions with trade or cultural activities or any social activities. So the country is great. But now there is coming a but. This country is at present one of the poorest countries listed in the world. Why? Because immediately after Soviet evil system collapsed, it became free of Russia. So what happened? Immediately in 95, I mean, it was 1991, Gorbachev and Reagan and Thatcher, they agreed on this stuff, and Mitterrand was there. And then immediately, this international mafia of, I call it mafia, this is a real criminal gang of imperial power, which accumulated a lot of capital, which is many times fold bigger than any country's GDP. Like, for example, one of the funds, it's called BlackRock or Blackstone or Vanguard. They are ruling over 12, 15 or whatever trillion. So a country like Ukraine has only 200 some billion dollars of GDP. So it is so many fold. They have great power, and they are all based in today in US. So it's a US, United Kingdom, Israel, and Australia and Canada. This is the place at the moment where they are hosted. I don't say the people of these countries have nothing to do with this, but this evil imperial capital, which is acting totally without honesty, without dignity, and without rules, any ethic rules, nothing. These guys are at the moment residing and acting out of these countries. Mainly, and they of course also go to places like Ukraine immediately when they find it free to occupy, and the occupation actually of Ukraine took place already in after 94, 95. But it was not enough influence still as they wanted, and therefore they had to make this orange. It sounds very nice, like the oranges behind me. Orange revolution, which was funded, as we all know, by this United Kingdom-based capital guys and MI5 or MI whatever these people are, Soros. So, and it was funded by him, and this 2004 situation happened, and they have actually democratically elected guy, Yanukovych, was then took away. I have to look in my notes not to lose my track. Yes, Mr. Yanukovych. I mean, he was also a corrupt guy and everything, but he was at least, looking to Russia and also to the West on a more humble way. But it was not enough, especially after Yanukovych said European Union accession conditions are not acceptable, because European Union is another branch of this guys, which is really acting to just enslave the countries which are becoming members, and dismantling them and putting into structure how they benefit most. I mean, not the country, the EU rulers. So mainly, of course, in Germany based also capital, France, and before it was also England, but England pull out because it's more beneficial maybe to act now from outside together with US, more harsh. So Yanukovych left. What happened then? Then it was totally free for this US, and I say also they call it NATO. NATO was already there, so they started to arm the country. They cut all ties with the Russian Federation, especially economically. This harmed the country. Ukraine has really lost a lot of business, and so just was concentrated, focused on the arming and equipping the country, and then they brought this fascist guys, these neo-Nazi structures, which they made in many other countries, including Turkey, with the Grey Wolves, or in Nicaragua, etc. I mean, they are very talented in this, and but this was nothing of benefit for Ukrainian people. It was just preparing the country for an asymmetric war, as they call. Asymmetric war means with guerrilla tactics, having the country many years coming in a warlike situation. And why they do this? In order to control the territory, and also at the end bring such a war which now benefits again NATO. NATO means America. Everybody is buying now weapons again. Everybody is putting a lot of resources to defense and arms and rockets, all this stuff. And mainly this money is going again to US based or US capital involved, because even German Leopard Panzer, which is built by Rheinmetall, I mean, this is also, the capital inside is like Vanguard or BlackRock. So it is all the international same mafia of imperialists, and the people of the countries, they don't benefit. They are just harmed. Also, German people at the moment suffer. Why they suffer? They have to pay now higher taxes. Why? Because at one moment now it is again like in the Cold War times, Russia is the evil coming up. So we have to spend more on arms. So our question always is to find the evil. Cui bono? Who benefits? And if we look at the moment from this war situation, Ukrainian people definitely don't benefit. But there are many others, including, by the way, not Russian people, but Russian economy. Because why? You see the energy prices, they are still delivering. And how many times more they are charging now for the gas? Even ruble has recovered. Ruble was in a devastated situation, and now ruble even covered. So Russia is benefiting. For Putin and these mafia guys, is no problem. Their people, 50,000 Russian soldiers are dying or not. They are laughing about. They are sitting in Switzerland or in London, in the Regent hotel or whatever, Hyde Park, and smoking their cigar. So this situation only harming now Ukrainians and people like us in Turkey or Egypt, where we are really in need of this economy, of tourism or some trade, which is now not taking place at the moment. And therefore also I very much applaud, for example, how the Turkish government is fighting now to bring peace into the situation. But we are alone. Turkey is now really alone who wants peace. Because even the Ukrainian people are the poor guys. They are totally, through the media, brainwashed. They think there is one aggressor. Russian people are their now enemies, which are normally their brothers and sisters, as you know. It comes from Kievan Rus. They are the same people. So finally, what I can say is some solutions, of course, to situations. First is, of course, Ukraine. Ukraine definitely has to kick out this so-called their government and administration, which is a joke, which are just agents of this evil capital, which I said, US, Israel, England, Canada based guys. They have to take them out. And this Zelensky, he's a theater actor, which is absolutely, I respect very much. It's beautiful, but he has to go to theater and not do such jobs, especially not being paid by this Israeli criminal who called Kolomoisky, who brought him there. He's sitting in Israel and England, and they are doing just evil things against the interests of the Ukrainian people. So first, Ukrainian people have to get up and take down this government. Go to Verkhovna Rada. This is in Kiev, their parliament, the government. They have to fire them out, send them to jail. Yeah, all of them, because they are really not acting for Ukrainian people. So then become an independent, neutral country like Sweden, Finland, or Austria. But the good thing is, you have even in Ukraine more than these countries. Just the minerals, just the geographic location, and the people with the bright guys, with all the engineering know-how, everything is in Ukraine. So Ukraine has to become neutral and strong, and it will become one of the most richest countries and influential countries in the world. But it has to take its own fate into its own hand. And unfortunately, this doesn't go without fighting. You have to first fight in Ukraine to take out these evil agents who are serving guys who are not thinking of benefit of Ukraine. So this is one. Second, of course, for Russia, our friends, the Russian populace, I have to say they have to make a second revolution, but this time the right one. And they have to take down all this. I don't want to use bad words, but they have to really take all this Putin and his nomenclatura since over 20 years. I know that the Russian people are in a dictatorship. It's very difficult and they are very cruel. I don't know, what kind of even tortures they are doing, all this FSB and KGB and all these guys. They are all working against their own people. Yeah, but there must be, we have to take them out. So they have to make also an uprising and take down the government, the same thing like in Ukraine, send them home, and then you will have also, it's a beautiful federation. Maybe you have to become a little bit smaller. It's too big to manage. You have to leave these countries outside of this federation. This federation is too big. 7 time zones, it's going until Japan. You cannot manage it. Let the countries like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, all this stuff also totally free. and Russia has to become just Moscow, St. Petersburg, this area, you know, and a little bit around. That's it. The rest has to be splitted. So then it comes to European Union. Yes, I have here European Union states led by Germany mainly. They have to become also free, because after Second World War they become like a colony of this evil imperial guys who are sitting in these countries like US and United Kingdom. United Kingdom, by the way, mainly of course the finance, yeah. And they block now all the monies. They are always harboring the monies and the pirates of the world. They all put their monies there. Why? Yeah, it's known why it is like this. So they have to also make an uprising in Germany, especially because their governments also don't represent anymore their people. They represent the capital who hired them. And they are acting, as we have seen also in this COVID situation and everything, they are just acting against their people in the name of the pharmaceutical or military industry or whatever, but which is not benefiting the people. Germany has at the moment, by the way, over 7% of inflation. For us in Turkey, it's nothing, but for Germany, it's a lot. And the debt situation is now over 2 trillion euros, and this is already more than 50% than GDP of Germany, which was not normal, I mean, a couple of years ago. So German people will suffer a lot, and they have to do something against it. So this will influence also European Union. And finally, we are coming to USA. USA. It is not a country, I mean, it's not a nation with normal structures. Any case, it is like a corporation acting, but it has to become democratically ruled place. And after over 200 years, I mean, God's sake, become a normal place which is not a pirates of the world. You know, you go kill all the Indians and the natives and call it discovery and whatever, and then worldwide, what you are doing is at the moment only putting fire everywhere. Wherever USA is appearing, bombs, killings, blood. What the hell? I mean, did people of United States, again, it is separate, it's something else. Over 350 million people are there, and I would bet 300 million of it, I mean, only 50 million are living in a good shape, but 300 million are either mediocre or even have no heating in their homes in the winter, and on trailer parks they are staying. So these guys also have to get up and then find their system of governance, and also be more just focus on their country, and they have enough resources to make it happen in their own territory without mixing up Syria or Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever. I mean, they are also dying, the people, the poor guys. Although they send only the black, a little bit, either black guys or Puerto Ricans or whatever you see, is Mr. Sanchez with the American thing, you know. Most of them are not, of course, coming from the families, white families of Boston or San Francisco. I know that, but still, they are Americans, and they are going and dying or killing or losing their own leg or whatever. So this has to stop. So finally, what we can say is this is not a war between Russia and Ukraine. Actually, this is a war of the imperial capital and the interests, and they need wars, like they need also some viruses to make more profits on pharmaceutical industry, but not only making profits on the pharmaceutical, for example, also gain more influence and control on the people with digitalization and then put them really into enslavement, actually, because today you cannot act anything anymore without these intelligent phones. You cannot go even in metro or go buy something, nothing. So it is the digitalization is enslavement of people, and and this is serving not only earning money for these evil guys, also to enslave more the people and get in control. Wars serve not only earning money again, to also put more influence, to gain influence, like America lost influence in before this war now in Europe, because France was saying, yeah, NATO has already brain dead, we don't need it, you see. But now they had to show NATO is needed. NATO means America. He said, guys, you need me. You see, there is a evil. This is Russia. So you have to now put your hands in your pocket and put, Germany immediately put 100 billion, yeah, as a special payment, and the rest followed. They have, I think, at the moment, US again collected, like a collector, over 1 trillion, yeah, just for because of this war, and can sell his fracking oil, which is the worst thing in the world, if not only expensive but environmentally disaster. Yeah, this is he is selling to Europe. Plus, Russia is also benefiting, as they got now their gas and oil more expensive. They can sell on the world, but the Russian people, of course, not. They are dying. They are sent by Putin, evil guy, to die. He has no clue. So we have to just, as populace in all these countries, get up and take down the governments, because they don't act for their benefit. The only place I would now say is really, which is acting for their people, is Turkey. I am also very much surprised about this. I'm always criticizing my own country, but Turkey is really acting at the moment for their people, for their interests, and trying to stop this war. And one should really take now example of Turkey to deal with this situation. So thank you very much, and I hope all this situation is getting soon better.